everyone, it's Isa. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can probably tell, today it's not going to be an unboxing video, it's not going to be a haul. Today I'm going to be talking about my first ever Fansign experience with STAYC's Isa. So I was actually supposed to film this video yesterday after the Fansign. However, afterwards I was just so tired for some reason, and I was also very overwhelmed with happiness and emotions. So I decided it wouldn't have been good to film yesterday, but I want to do it now so that the memories are still fresh, my tips are still fresh, and I can still narrate everything that happened without mixing anything up. I also want to take this opportunity to give you guys tips and advice on things that I learned during this whole experience for those who have gotten into Fansigns and you guys need help. I was completely clueless getting into this Fansign. I didn't know what to do. Everything that happened I did on my own just by going through the guidelines and whatever. Nobody helped me, and I wish somebody did. I feel like it would have just given me a lot more peace of mind if somebody did, and that's why I'm making this video, because if you look it up, there isn't actually many videos talking about what to do after you've won a Fansign, and that's what I want to do today. So I hope you guys enjoy the story of how Isa met Isa. So just a little backstory, I actually also joined the Make Star 1 Fansign for STAYC. However, I lost that one, and I actually did an unboxing of the albums that I purchased for that Fansign. So losing that sort of really discouraged me, and so it led me to not purchase or try for any more Fansigns for STAYC while the albums that I had ordered hadn't arrived yet. However, when they did arrive, I was super stunned by the hollow photo cards, the Fansign photo cards that they came with, and I was just thinking, okay, maybe I lost the Fansign, but these cards are really gorgeous. I was thinking about like, where else can I purchase albums with Fansign benefit photo cards? And at the time that the albums from the first round arrived, there was only one shop that had a Fansign for STAYC ongoing, and their mode of delivery just wasn't convenient for me, so I decided to pass on that. And luckily, the day after the albums arrived, Make Star opened the second round of STAYC Fansigns. And this time, instead of having a group call and 30 winners, they had 60 winners, 10 winners per member, and STAYC's first face-to-face Fansign. And originally, funnily enough, I wasn't even planning on buying albums for this to join the Fansign or to win the Fansign. They were really just for the hollow photo cards. So if you've ordered from Make Star before, you'll know that they send the Fansign benefit cards really randomly. So even if you order the exact number of members in the group, they still won't give you every single member. That's how random they give out photo cards. So I was thinking, in order to get my buys line, which is Isa, Jay, and Yoon, I'll have to purchase more than 6 albums. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll buy 12 and I'll open a group order. So I tweeted that I might be doing a Make Star 2 group order, and immediately people started saying that they were interested. They were giving me the members that they wanted for the hollow photo card. And I was like, okay, this is good. And right off the bat, more than 12 people inquired to order albums from me. So I was a little overwhelmed and a little shocked, and I was like, okay, well, if that's how many people want to order, then maybe I'll do like a full-fledged group order. So at my first checkout, I actually ordered 18 albums. 18 albums already, and that was just of people who initially ordered. I hadn't even made a selling tweet or whatnot. It was just purely out of interest. So I was like, okay, well, this is good. So if this many people wanted to join, maybe I should try for the Fansign. So this whole thing originally, it wasn't even to try and win for the Fansign, it was really for the hollow photo cards. It wasn't until the 3rd day of album selling that I really was determined to win the Fansign. So Make Star opened the selling for 5 days. On the 21st, I checked out 18 albums. On the 22nd, 6 albums. The 23rd, 6 albums, and finally on the 24th, another 6 albums, for a total of 36 albums. And as the last day of selling rolled around, I was starting to get really anxious, and I was thinking, oh, I don't think these are enough. There seems to be a lot of people who joined, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it. But I decided against it. I decided that 36 was a good amount, and if I don't get in, then it just wasn't meant to be. So I let the last day slip by, I let it rest, I checked the Make Star page just one more time, and that was it. Selling was over. Now, the announcement of winners was to happen the next day on the 26th. So at this point, I was feeling like I should have purchased more albums. I was like, oh my god, what if I was like one album away from winning and that one album I didn't purchase? And I was just getting really, really nervous. Obviously, these fan signs are randomly drawn. However, it just increases your chances the more you buy albums. So I was sitting around the whole day. I was really nervous. I was really anxious. And 3 p.m. KST rolls around, which is when the announcements were to be made. I went on the Makestar website and I clicked on the STAYC Statum project. Then I opened the winners tab. So how they did it was they gave out the individual list, and Isa was like the third list. So what I did was I scrolled down slowly. So the names are actually separated by lines, and so I went down scrolling line per line. I scrolled down the first one and it wasn't me. I scrolled down the second one, it wasn't me. Scrolled down the third one and it wasn't me. And by the third one, I was sort of losing a little bit of hope. I don't know why. It was just the third person. There was like 7 more slots to go. And I scrolled down the fourth one and it was me. I saw my name literally right at the front. It said Isa. And I had to stop for a second and process things, and I started crying. I mean, I really wanted to win, and I was really overwhelmed and I was really surprised. And I had been bugging my mom about the fan sign, and I was telling her like, oh, I don't think the albums I purchased are enough and stuff. And so she was the first person that I told I had won. And it was just so overwhelming. The experience, the happiness of seeing my name there was just super amazing. I can't explain. I really am not good at winning raffles, at contests. It's just not really, where my luck lies. I've only won like 3 or 5 raffles in my entire lifetime, including this draw. And so I seem to feel like I have bad luck when it comes to raffles. So seeing my name up there was truly shocking to me. And that was that. I had gotten in, and I was super grateful, and I am super grateful to everybody who purchased albums from me for my group order. And when it came to the 36 albums that were purchased, I don't take full credit for that. Again, like I said, I opened a group order for it, and so I'm very thankful to everybody who ordered from me. I also bought like 15 albums to myself, and so I did invest quite a bit of money, but honestly, it's true when they say that you'll hardly think about it once you win. It really is true. Like, I was so worried about my money going to waste if I lost, and the moment I won and I knew I was a winner, it just completely slipped my mind. I never thought about it again, because in the end, what I really wanted was to win the fan sign. So now that I had won the fan sign, it was time to worry about the registering, the signing up, the making sure all my account details were correct and that they could contact me. It was time to worry about what to say, how to say it. I had to learn some Korean phrases, just a lot of things. And I'm a worrier. So right off the bat, after finding out that I won, I sat myself down and I said, okay, I'm going to create a schedule for myself to make sure that I stay on track every single day for fan sign preparations. So on the day that they announced the winners, they had sent out an email to the winners, and I followed all of the procedures that you had to do to make sure your account was accessible and whatnot. You just really have to read guidelines when it comes to fan sign entries. It's really all you have to do. They put out most of the information you already need there. So it really is just a matter of making sure that you're eligible to join. So I had that done. I made sure my account was accessible, all my account details were correct, and that was done. So on the first day of fan sign preparations, I sort of just let myself rest. It was pretty overwhelming, and I was pretty happy that all the buying of albums paid off. So I just, let it rest. I left it at that. After fixing my account, I left it at that. The next day, I had to start figuring out what I wanted to say to Isa. So obviously, we have the same name, just pronounced differently, so that was going to be my opening line. And as I recorded myself saying my dialogue, I had realized that I already took up a minute. And And if you guys don't know, they usually give you guys a minute per member when it comes to group fan signs, and for individual fan signs, it usually lasts 2 minutes. But for some reason, I was like, I'm good with this 1-minute dialogue. Just in case the time is shorter than I expected, which was 2 minutes, then I'm good, I'm fine, I don't have to worry. This again would come as a disadvantage to me later, but we'll get on with that later. So now the next few days before the fan sign, I was actually pretty lazy, so I only really prepared for the fan sign the day before in terms of the call and how I was gonna set my room up for the call. I chose Line as my messenger app, and I don't really use Line since I don't really have many friends that have Line anyways, so I really did just make an account for the fan sign. And so I had never called on this thing, never texted, never anything on this thing. So I was pretty confused and I was pretty new to the layout. So I decided that to be extra prepared, I would try to do a video call practice round, I guess. And I asked somebody to help me out with it. So in the guidelines, it says that the artist is going to call you and you have to pick up. So I asked the person that was helping me to call me, and we just learned all about this format. And after we experimented with the app a little, that's when I figured out a bunch of things and how I was going to set everything up and how many devices I needed to get a good recording and whatnot. So that was a pretty good experience. I will be going into that more later at the end of the video because I learned a lot of things. That's very important. You should really test out the app that you're going to be using for the fan sign, especially if you don't use it a lot. It's super helpful, trust me, and I will be talking a lot more about why it was so helpful to me at the end of the video. So the last thing I did for the fan sign preparation was actually to make Isa a sign that said "I sarange," which is a nickname of hers. And I thought it would be really cool because just in case the time was shorter than I expected, I had the little sign that said "I sarange" in case I couldn't say "I love you" or got too flustered or I forgot to say "I love you" or whatever. So I made a sign. And with that, I took 1 night of rest, and on May 2nd, I woke up and it was fan sign day. So I'm going to narrate through the entire experience of the video call as well as showing you guys clips from the video call. The video call was due to start at 5 p.m. and I had sat and set everything up at 4:30, and I was literally just staring at my phone waiting for it to ring. I was the 4th person, like I said, so I was expecting my phone to ring at around 5:06, 5:08, and I did get a notification at 5:06. However, it just said missed call. My phone didn't ring, there was no tab at the top saying that somebody was calling, it just missed called. And if you guys don't know, there's this general rule in fan signs where if you don't pick up twice, they're going to skip past you. I panicked. I was like, oh my god, they might skip past me. So it actually took 2 missed calls to me and 2 missed calls on Isa's side for the call to come through. So it finally went through on the 4th try. I was the one that called and she picked up, which is, I was really surprised. I really just called. I was risking calling just so that they wouldn't skip over me, and I was so surprised. I was so relieved that she picked up. And because of all this, because of me worrying that they might skip over me, I actually forgot to turn on screen recording. I forgot to turn on screen recording for a video call fan sign. I forgot. But don't worry, I luckily had a backup phone waiting at the side, and I was able to press record on that one, so all of my footage was taken on that. Hence the sort of blurry resolution, but honestly, I was just so relieved I was able to get an okay quality video even without a screen recording, so I was pretty relieved. I hope that nobody comes for me for cutting her off in some parts of the video. You'll notice that in some parts of the video, she is still speaking and then I start speaking, or the other way around, where I'm speaking and she starts speaking. We're not intentionally cutting each other off. It's because of the latency in the video call. So one of the things that was going through my brain was that I was saying something and I paused for like a second or two and she still hadn't responded. So to me, it was just like a signal to keep talking, you know, and not waste any time. But really to her, it was just that the sound was delayed. So please don't misunderstand it as us cutting each other off. It was just because of the latency in the video call. Okay? Okay, so let's begin.
안녕하세요. I'm from the Philippines and we have the same name. 언니, 우리 이름이 같아요. 나는 이사입니다.
이사.
Yes! I 사랑해.
So I introduced myself in English and Korean, and as you can see, she was super cute and happy about it. So if you look at her expression while I was introducing myself in Korean, I think she was surprised that I started speaking in Korean, and I think she was also surprised because we have the same name. And so she called me by my name actually the first few seconds of the call, which is really adorable. She was so sweet, she was so nice, it was so cute. I was getting really starstruck.
Annie, you're so beautiful and talented, and you inspire me so much. Congratulations on your first Rookie of the Year award. Sininsangimnida. I will support you forever.
And so I went on how I scripted it, and I complimented her and congratulated her on STAYC's Rookie Award. However, I don't know actually, but I said Sininsangimnida, and I meant to say Rookie of the Year Award. I'm not sure if that's grammatically incorrect. I know that in some cases, by saying imnida, you're saying that is, you know, Rookie Award or whatnot, but I was terrified that maybe she understood it as me saying I am Rookie Award, which I hope that's not how it came across. But since I'm not very confident in my Korean speech, I'm going to claim it and say that it was a grammatical error. But luckily I did say it in English as well, so at least she understood that part and she was sure about what I was saying in that part. And so forgive me again for the grammatical error I made. My Korean isn't very good, but I just really wanted to try for Isa, and she reacted pretty well.
Could I teach you how to say sarangheyo in my language? It's mahal kita.
Mahal kita.
Yes, mahal kita, Isa.
Mahal kita, Isa.
So after this, I decided that it was time to ask her if I could teach her how to say mahal kita. So I was actually kind of scared while I was scripting this that maybe the staff at the site would be like, no, you can't say anything that you don't know the meaning of or whatever. But luckily she agreed, and she was so cute about the whole thing. So after I taught it to her, as you saw, I said mahal kita Isa, and she said mahal kita Isa, and it was so cute. One of the best moments of my life, honestly. I love her so much.
Can we do poses?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat girl. Heart cheek. Flower.
So after this, I was like, okay, the time is still going. This is pretty good. So I was like, okay, can we do poses now? And so I had prepared 3 poses to do, which were cat girl, cheek heart, and flower. I really thought that if I asked her to pose with me, we would have to like rush it because of the time. But no, she took her time and she was so precious doing it, and it was so adorable. And I was blushing through the entire thing. She's so cute.
I love you, you're so pretty. Thank you for working hard always. Thank you for working hard always. You're so talented. I am a singer too, and you always inspire me. You inspire me so much. Please keep working hard, and we will be here for you forever. Annie, I'm so proud of you, really. You're so good, you're so talented. You did so well this comeback, and you did so well prior. I hope that I get the chance to meet you again soon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for supporting me.
Of course! Your English is so good! Your English is so good. You're so pretty, oh my gosh. You're so pretty, Annie.
So after the poses, this is when I realized the time was still going and I had no dialogue left. I literally had nothing else prepared. So at this point, I do what I usually do when I meet celebrities and I run out of things to say. I start complimenting them. So I just started telling her things like, thank you for working hard, you did so well, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, you're so talented. I just repeated all those things, and I did that for like a good 20 seconds. And the entire time, she just looked really touched, and she looked like she appreciated the comments. So, you know, even if I wasn't really that prepared, I'm glad that she knew how much I loved her and how much I appreciated her. Even if my compliments were starting to get repetitive, I really wanted it to get across to her that I thought she was precious and I thought she was the most amazing human being ever. So yeah, that's what happened. And at the end of it, she said, thank you for supporting me, which I was like, of course, girl, of course I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna support you forever. I mean that. And at one point, I was just getting super overwhelmed and starstruck that I like went on full breakdown and I said, you're so pretty, oh my gosh. And she responded with, you're very pretty. I'm never gonna feel ugly ever again. Like, so that was a really cute moment for me. I don't know whether she meant it or not, but I haven't felt ugly since she said that, so I'm gonna run with it. And I'm gonna forever keep that memory in my heart. I'm never gonna feel insecure again because it would be disrespectful to Isa.
Ani, can you promise me? Please don't forget that we have the same name. Please, yes, Isa. We can't wait to see you over here. We hope that you guys come here after the pandemic.
So at this point, I asked her if she could promise me that she wouldn't forget that we have the same name. Now, I don't know how common a name Isa is in Korea, and I don't know if I'm the first or the how many fan she's met with the same name as her, but I just really didn't want her to forget me, so I said, could you please promise me that you won't forget we have the same name? And she did like really adorable finger guns and said, Isa Philippines. I was like, if you say it's Isa Philippines, my name is Isa Philippines now. Yes, I'll be the representative of your name here. I think it's so cute as well that she associated my name with the country that I mentioned once in the video call. So I think that was really, really sweet of her.
Ani, I promise, okay? Please don't forget. And I promise, I will never stop supporting you. Pinky promise.
Oh, the time is over, sir.
Okay, thank you. I love you. 사랑해요. I 사랑해.
And so at the end, we promised again that we wouldn't forget, and she initiated a pinky promise. She initiated a pinky promise. I was making my script, right? And I was like, what if I ask Isa to pinky promise with me that she won't forget me and that she won't forget we have the same name? And I was gonna initiate the pinky promise. But no! She initiated the pinky promise. I was melting inside. I was like, I thought that I was gonna have to be the one to initiate that. No! She pinky promised with me. She was the one that initiated the pinky promise. And I know, like, to non-fans, it's like, it's a digital pinky promise, so what? Like, no. It's a big deal to me. I think it's a huge deal to me that she was the one that initiated the pinky promise. I will keep that pinky promise with me forever. So it was time to go, and I was very sad about it, but it was longer than I expected, so I was, you know, sort of thinking, okay, well, how long is this actually gonna be? So she said goodbye, and for her final I love you, she said I love you in English. So she said I love you to me in Korean, Filipino, and English. And then the call ended, and I just sat there, and I was processing everything that just happened, and then I realized I forgot to turn on screen recording. So I was like panicking, right? That split second from when I saw that my screen recording wasn't on to looking at my backup phone and realizing it was recording, I had like a mini heart attack. I was like, don't tell me I have zero documentation of what happened. Don't tell me. So luckily, like I said, I had it on my backup phone and I got the footage. Even if that's what the original footage looked like, I'm still happy I even got any of it on camera. I would have panicked. I would have cried if I didn't get anything recorded. So I was just pretty happy that I got it here. And just like that, the best 2 minutes of my life were over. So, reflections after the fan sign. Now, after the fan sign, I was completely overwhelmed. I was so happy. I was yelling, I was screaming. Like, how I imagined the fan sign would go, it was like 10 times better than that. Even if at one point I was just rambling and complimenting her and I forgot to screen record it, it was still 10 times better than how I ever imagined it would go. Did I have any regrets? Yes. And I counted them down to 3. One being that I forgot to screen record. 2 being that I was unprepared at one point, and that's when I started rambling and just giving her compliments I had already told her. I wish that I could have been able to ask her a question or something at that point, but I was just super starstruck that I just could not form a sentence, a proper sentence. And 3, the latency problem. Because of the latency problem, our voices overlapped, you know, our responses overlapped, and I wish it wasn't like that. But then again, that's sort of something I couldn't really control, you know? So there isn't really any point in regretting it or thinking about it. But overall, I'm really happy with how it went down, even thinking about the regrets that I had during it. I think I was just really, really grateful for being able to talk to her. I was very, very happy with how the experience went down, just because she was so kind and she really listened, you know? She listened to me when I told her where I was from. She listened to me when I introduced myself. She was so kind about it. Just the overall experience was really, really great, and I loved it. I loved her. I loved talking to her. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Alright, so now for some advice regarding fan signs. So these are some things that I learned during this entire experience, and I guess I just wanted to share some of the things I learned while preparing for the fan sign. So number one, the biggest thing that I learned here was to navigate the app that you're going to be using for the fan sign. So like I said earlier, I used Line for the fan sign, but I don't actually use it on a day-to-day basis. So I had never called on it, never texted on it. And when I asked somebody to help me out by calling me on my phone to see how it would work, I learned that one, I had to enable the camera and the microphone, which is a pretty given thing, but I didn't think about it until it came up during the call. And so if I had not enabled it during the practice phone call, it would have meant that I would have had to enable it during the actual fan sign, and that would have taken at least 5 seconds. And when your video call is only a minute long, that's a lot of time. Second, there are some messengers that don't allow you to screen record and then pick up the phone. Some messengers only allow you to screen record once you're already in the call. So for instance, I was already screen recording and then I got the practice phone call. My screen recording stopped when I picked up the phone and it said, screen recording failed due to active phone call. However, when we tested it again, I was able to screen record when I started it while the video call was already ongoing. So that's something I learned that I would have only learned if I tested it out. If I had not, then I never would have known that. Not that that would have been helpful for me because my dumbass forgot to screen record, but it's just for future reference, you know? The third thing I learned was that for some reason my phone doesn't record the audio of a screen recording. So even if I had the screen recording, I would have still had to have an extra device on hand to record the sound. And again, I would never have known that if I didn't try to screen record during the test video call. So those are some things that I learned, you know, while I was preparing for the fan sign. It wasn't really something that I had thought of prior to just being in the draw, but it's definitely something to think about before you try it, especially if you don't know the app well. There could be some toggles you haven't turned on, some things you haven't rechecked that could potentially risk your fan sign experience. Another thing is that if you're screen recording, make sure to remove the assistive touch button as well as turning off all notifications except for the app that you're going to be using. I also don't recommend turning on Do Not Disturb, since Do Not Disturb silence all calls and the video call notification might be included. So like I said, for some reason with my phone, it didn't even show up as ringing, it just showed up as miscalled. So I don't know what happened there, and I wish I could provide a solution for it if I knew the problem, but I don't. So all I can recommend is to make sure that all your notifications are off, except for the app you're going to be using. Clear all the apps from running in the background to make sure your phone isn't slow, and to make sure that you have storage and battery. So those are some pretty given things already, but in case you need a reminder, you need to do all those things. As well as to make sure that your headphones, if you're using any, are working well and you can be clearly heard. Again, another reason to do a test call. One more tip is when you're preparing on the fan sign day, especially if you have a lot of things to do, like do your makeup, do your hair, find your outfit, I suggest that you make alarms for every hour that you're going to be doing something. It helped me stay on track, and I actually ended up ahead of time. And so it gave me a lot of time to just calm down before the fan sign, which was very helpful since I can be very, very nervous before meeting an artist. Another tip of mine is to script what you're going to say. Now again, if you don't know how long the video call is going to be, you might have a little bit of a problem here, but prepare at least 40 seconds of dialogue I think is pretty good. If your fan sign is a minute long per member, I think having 30 seconds of dialogue is good, and then the other 30 seconds for what the artist wants to say. Or if you're not very talkative or you don't have a lot of things you want to say to them, then even just scripting a little bit of dialogue is good. This is good so that you don't really get lost during the fan sign. It's easy to get overwhelmed and to get starstruck and to be lost completely of what you want to say. So scripting it helps you stay on track and gives you an idea of what you want to say, as well as making sure that you utilize your time during the fan sign. And lastly, set aside at least an hour or two if you're not sure about how you're going to set up your space for the video call. So like I said, this is my first video call fan sign, so I wasn't really sure how to set up my phone I'm going to be using, the backup phone, as well as the recording device for the sound. I was very confused, so I took those extra hours before the fan sign to sort of play around with my setup and find the best possible setup to use. And it worked out pretty well, and I still had like 30 minutes to spare just to wait for the call. And I guess my last advice is to enjoy it, really. I know there's a lot of people out there who end up regretting their fan sign experiences because they hadn't prepared their dialogue well, or they hadn't done their recording well. I think it's really, really important to prepare, not just on the day itself, but prior as well. Make sure that you've ruled out every possible scenario of things that could go wrong, and then try to find a solution to them prior, even before the fan sign date. I just think that's very helpful. If you're not a worrier, then that's good, but all of these things that I learned came out from me worrying that something was gonna go wrong, and by worrying, it actually gave me a better result in the end. So I guess I have something to thank for that. But yeah, that's my overall fan sign experience, reflections, and advice as of right now. So again, absolutely surreal experience. But if you got into a fan sign and that's why you're watching this video, then I'm so happy for you. Enjoy, have a great time. And if you haven't won a fan sign yet but want to, then I wish you all the best, good luck, and I hope that you win someday. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!
Peace out.